Hey everyone, it's Rita with Everything Homemade, and today I'm going to make a classic cookie, the no-bake cookies. Now there's many variations of this cookie. It seems like every household kind of has its own no-bake cookie, or can be also called haystacks as well. But this is the way that I do it. Now I really make a lot of these cookies during the winter time because they require no eggs. And because we're on a homestead, I am using eggs that I have kept in storage because our chickens usually don't lay at this time during the winter. We give them a break so they're ready to go in the spring. So that means that I don't want to use as many eggs. So this is a perfect recipe to be able to make cookies for my husband and kids' lunches for work that requires no eggs, but still tastes absolutely delicious. And before we dive into that, if you are new to my channel, welcome. And I'll let you know that I'm also a cookbook author. I have written Everything Stevia and Everything Whole Wheat Sourdough. Both cookbooks are available on the website, which has the link to Amazon for purchase. And on the website, they are available in ebook form. I also have a garden journal. I'm also a fiction author. So definitely check out my works at everything-homemade.com. And thank you so much, because every time anyone purchases, they directly support my family. So thank you in advance. So the very first thing that I always like to do before I even start mixing these in a pot is I like to grab some parchment paper, or if you got wax paper, and I like to take a few sheets out, 2.5, 3 feet in length, and place them down onto my table, because when I am done stirring these cookies, the key to these is actually taking a spoon and scooping and forming in a cookie while they're hot and putting them on the parchment paper to cool. So there is no baking in the oven with these cookies. So get the parchment paper out and let's line a surface with it, and then we'll head to the stove. There we go. So this is a pretty good sized recipe that we're gonna make. So I'm gonna put a pot on here that at least holds about 1.5 gallons. It's a good sized pot, but you definitely want something like this, because you're gonna end up with about 4 dozen or so cookies, depending on the size that you're making it, but it's a pretty good size recipe. Pot first, you're not turning on the element quite yet. We need to get some ingredients in here first before we put on the heat. So the very first ingredients is 2 cups of milk. Now this can be dairy milk or a dairy-free option. It doesn't matter, just get 2 cups of whatever kind of milk you want. Then I want to add in 1 cup of coconut sugar, which looks like that. If you don't have coconut sugar, you can use white sugar, or you can use brown sugar, or a different alternative sugar if you like. Our family loves the coconut sugar with this recipe. So there's 1 cup. And then I have some cocoa powder here. I'm going to use 1.5 cups of cocoa powder. There we go. Now at this point, I'm just going to whisk it all together. Now if you ever whisk together cocoa powder and milk, it doesn't go together really smoothly at first, so just kind of keep working at it. It will incorporate. There we go. Now it's coming together. Now that it's all incorporated, what I like to do now is turn on my element to medium-high heat. And while it takes a moment for my element to heat up, that's when I'm gonna add in a couple of the other ingredients. First one being salt. I'm just gonna add in a pinch of Redmond's sea salt. It's a little more, probably equivalent to a half a teaspoon. Then I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whisk that together. Now I'm gonna keep on mixing this. Now would be a good time to measure out 6 cups of oats. Here I have thick rolled oats. You can use a quick rolled oat if you want to. I really like the thick just because then you can kind of see the oats. The oats just don't disappear, but that's personal preference. You want about 6 cups. And then you want 2 cups of shredded coconut as well. So have those handy beside you. You can just turn off the element if you want. Run wherever you need to run to go get them, measure them out and have them. And then come back and turn back on the element because you don't want this to burn. Otherwise, right now, just keep on mixing this until it boils because you want to get this piping hot. So let's go. Come on. And you know what? As I am like waiting for this to boil, I forgot an ingredient. Holy smokes. I forgot the butter. Yikes. Let's go get some butter in here. So you definitely want to add some butter. So let's just put some butter in here. Take a look at that. It's probably equivalent to about 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. You don't have to be exact. Okay, this is a pretty forgiving recipe, so if you want to add like a little more, no problem. It's okay. So about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup is about what I put in. If you're adding at least 1/2 cup or something like that of butter, then you might have to get some more oats or just have some more oats handy because you need that to absorb, right, the extra liquid. So stir that in. You can also use coconut oil too if you like. I'm just going to turn down my heat a bit so I can get this butter melted. You can use some coconut oil as well. We'd use about 1/4 of a cup of coconut oil. That would be melted. Coconut oil in here. Both work real well. If I don't got butter, I use coconut oil. So I'm just gonna get this in there. You know what happens, right? When you're like baking or teaching and then you just absentmindedly forget an ingredient. Whew! Good thing I remembered. Okay. All right, so it looks like it is melted because I was just almost about to a boil. So let's just keep this going. There we go. Okay. Wonderful. That little piece there is melted now. Okay, you can see it's getting hot. So we should be almost to a boil here soon again. Okay, you see it bubbling? That's looking good. So just give it a minute. Make sure it's really piping hot at a, you know, it's not just like it just started. I always give it an extra minute to make sure this is hot. It also thickens the mixture too. So if you leave it for an extra minute, it really thickens this mixture and then makes it perfect for the cookies as well. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn it down to low so I don't burn it. I'm gonna exchange my whisk to a wooden spoon now. Okay, so it's on low. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my shredded coconut, my 2 cups, put it in there, get them mixed in there. Mix them in well. Okay, now what I like to always do, because sometimes I don't measure, is the oats. I put half in at the time. Because if you added, you know, like a little more butter one day or whatever, you know, in it, sometimes you don't need all the 6 cups of oats, but I find it just safe just to have the 6 cups oats. right there. And so mix that in there first, and then see if it's still quite wet. Then you want to add in a little more oats, and mine is just a little bit more on the wet side. So I'm going to add in just a little bit. So I got about a cup of oats left on my end. But if you had to use all of yours, go right ahead. Mix that together. And you don't want to see the color of the oats. You really want to have all those oats completely covered by the delicious chocolate. Oh yeah. A little bit more, and it does get a bit hard to stir. If it's a bit hard to stir, that's exactly where it should be. Okay. The other side here, mix those in, so it should look something like that. Really nice mixture, should hold on the spoon. That's perfect. Now I still have my element on low because I don't want this to cool down. And now let's move it back to where my wax paper or parchment paper is. And then let's start forming these into cookies. So I'm just going to grab a hot pad here, put my pot on there. I grabbed a teaspoon on my way here. I'm just gonna clean off my wooden spoon here. Chuck that in the sink, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cookies around my pot. So where my pot is won't have any cookies, it's just convenient, and get them all on here. So let's do it. What you need to do here is just, I like to scoop from the side and just form it on the spoon, and then take it from here and then just kind of push it off my spoon, just like that, to form a lovely cookie. And I will just do that as fast as I can and form as many cookies as I can before this mixture cools off. So I can make quite a bit of cookies, as you can see here. Okay, last cookie. Take a look at that. I'll remove this. And there we go. These cookies are done. So what I like to do is just leave them for like an hour, and they'll stiffen up a bit, and then I'll put them in the container to freeze for later. You can freeze them for holidays, you can freeze them for lunches. They are awesome eaten fresh or frozen. Really great cookies for kids and company, and you can make them so quickly. Thank you so much for watching this video. Check out the website at everything-homemade.com, and also let me know in the comments, maybe there's a family variation you love, or a neat story with these cookies. I know these cookies are passed down from generation to generation, and there's so many different variations. It would be awesome to hear from you. So I look forward to reading those in the comments. And remember, subscribe, click on that bell, and like this video, and definitely share it. I will see you on the next video.